walkers have you killed?
2.
How many people have you killed?
Just me.
Why?
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie, and The Walking Dead Season 4 just premiered. The episode was titled 30 Days Without Accident, and it really took us to the end of that episode to find out why. So let's do a quick recap and then talk about where all the characters are right now in the story. So the big question this episode was, can you come back from the things you've done to survive? And so what we see is the prison has made a lot of improvements, so obviously they've learned to kind of live in this post-apocalyptic environment. They built a lot of new structures, there's a garden. Rick is kind of learning to believe in humanity again a little bit. He even finds a gun in the ground and turns to look at the zombies and just takes the ammo out instead of killing them. There are two really big arcs in the episode. One is the trip to the grocery store, and 2 is Rick trying to get the boar. While Rick is trying to get the boar, he runs into someone who pretty much looks like they're almost a zombie, and essentially tries to help her out as much as possible. Basically just trying to be as caring as possible, like a humanitarian. Obviously, like a lot of things on Walking Dead, the situation goes to shit, and the character's kind of left in this really ambiguous moment where he's trying to decide whether or not it's worth it to keep on going. There's also this really creepy shot of a guy crawling around inside of a bag. That's right, yeah, that lady was carrying that bag around. Who knows for how long? Disgusting. I do love the idea of those 3 questions that he asked her while she was dying. It was just this really poignant moment. How many walkers have you killed? How many people have you killed, and why? So in the grocery store, the other storyline, Tyrese ends up getting eaten by zombies, and it turns out that he and Beth had this relationship, but upon being told of his death, she basically just tunes out, and we find out why the episode is called 30 Days Without Incident. She basically just rolls one of those things off. It's something that's used whenever there's an accident in the workplace, like whenever someone falls and hurts themselves. Beth kind of creeped me out a little bit when she just says she doesn't cry anymore. It just means she's basically dead inside, although she does give Daryl a hug, which makes me think that she hasn't totally jumped off the deep end yet. But it just gives you an idea of what these people are dealing with and kind of the place they're going mentally. So it just reinforces the idea, can you come back from that, or are they just all going to be dead inside? Are they all irredeemable at this point? We did get to see one of the new characters, Bob. He was basically the one that pulled the bottle of wine off that rack and kind of caused that whole zombie shitstorm. Because he was spared in that storyline kind of makes me think that the writers are kind of going to use him for something a little bit more important in a future episode. And let's talk about the fact that Carl's come back, and can he come back emotionally from having shot that person in the head? Obviously he's kind of trying to balance being a kid or being like this new adult, even though he still really is a kid. You really see it especially when he's talking to those other kids that are just taunting the zombies. And obviously storytime becoming this new storytime with weapons is a bit of an idea of growing up too fast almost. So I love that Carl kind of ran out, but Patrick was actually the most interesting part of that because you kind of get this really weird vibe from him. Let me know if you thought that Patrick was actually turning during that moment when he left story time. Obviously in the last couple minutes of the episode when we see him walking to the shower, you kind of know what's going to happen. Like that weird vibe he was giving off in story time just kind of telegraphed that a little bit, so I wasn't totally surprised by that end reveal. Mikan is obviously still trying to find the governor, and she's plotting this trip to Macon with that map. Let me know when you think they're going to follow up with that and what's going to happen with the governor, because he wasn't in this episode at all. But overall, I rate the episode a solid B. It was a great premiere. There wasn't a lot of action. It was mostly reflective of a lot of things that happened in the previous seasons. Just the characters kind of reflecting on themselves and thinking about their own humanity, whether or not they can actually come back from all these awful things that have been happening. But remember, strength in numbers. So obviously next week we're going to have to deal with Patrick. That's right, he's got to come out of that shower sometime. I'm guessing that it's going to be Carl that's going to end up having to kill him. So I'll be posting my next Walking Dead video after next week's episode. Be sure to subscribe to get it. I'll be posting it every week after the episodes air. Monday, tomorrow, I'll be posting my Gendry Game of Thrones Season 4 video, and that night will be Sleepy Hollow. As always, send me all your questions. Let me know what questions you have about Walking Dead this season, and I'll try to answer them in my next video. And if there's anything that you thought was really, really important that I didn't mention, be sure to write it in the comments, and we'll discussify. If you really want to help me out, please like and share this video. It totally helps me out when you guys share things. I give extra digital high fives to anyone that shares my stuff. In the meantime, you can click here to watch my latest American Horror Story Coven video, and you can click here to watch my latest Game of Thrones Season 4 preview. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. High five for the zombie apocalypse.